Hello guys, so today we have two ScrawlrBoxes to open because I've been a little busy lately, but that means that we have more art supplies to use in this video, yay! So let's check them out, and this one right here I think is May or April. Yeah, this is April I think, and I already done the original unboxing and ripped off the fancy paper and all that, but I hope you guys don't mind too much. I need to open these as soon as I receive them. It is impossible for me to have them just laying around without opening them. It is only crazy people that does that. Ta-da! I've actually never ever peeled off any of these stickers, so let's do it now. Perfect. Let's put it on my tripod right there. Oh, so fancy. A little bunny creature thing that is made by Stina Jones. Good job, Stina. A list of all the art supplies, and on the other side we have the Scrawler Challenge, which is Stranger Worlds. Ooh, I like that. And some popping candy to snack on. And the first things are Style File markers, or Style File markers, and this brand is completely new to me. I've never heard of it before, but they are already getting bonus points from me because they have brush nibs. And also a not so fun but still practical chisel nib. And this one is not a blender pen as I first thought because of the white cap. This is actually a warm gray Thero, so this must be like a very light gray. And I can't even open a marker without getting ink on me. Ugh. A solid graphite pencil from Cretacolor, and these are actually really nice to sketch with if you're into graphite pencils and all that. I actually have a few of those, but I'm not using them very often, mainly because I am not into graphite pencils. But I still like these better than the regular graphite pencil. A white all-surface pencil from Stabilo, and you can use this on paper, glass, plastic and metals. And I think this word is pretty fun. Aquarellable, but I think that just means that you can dissolve it with water if you want to and use it like watercolors. And I think it said in the info card that you can use it for highlights, so that is pretty interesting. Two mangaka pens, and I think someone told me that that is how it's pronounced, mangaka, but I may still say it wrong as usual. And this one have a 0.5mm nib, so it's like a fine liner, and the other one has a flexible nib that is a little stiffer, so it is like a stiff brush nib, and I really like these kinds of nibs, so I'm really happy to have more of those. And lastly, we have two sheets of Canson Bristol board, 250 grams, and I know this paper is really nice to use with markers, so I've used it a lot before. Alright, so next box is June, I think. It can be a little confusing sometimes, I think, to know which month these boxes belongs. And to be honest, when I first opened this box, I was like, no! Sometimes you just don't feel the art supplies. And I did actually get the exact same things in the sketch box too, so it was a little eh. Then on the other hand, my friend got super excited about these supplies, so I guess it depends on what kind of things you like. Alright, so let's just open it. Only chameleon products. Alright, I promise I won't be this negative this whole time. I just want to be honest with you guys, and that was actually my honest reaction when I opened the box the first time. Chameleon is actually a really good brand, and I think it is very helpful for some people, but to me, I am not super fond of these products, but oh well, I'm gonna use it anyway in this video and I'm gonna have fun. So you may have seen these ones before. It is the regular chameleon pens, and these one have like a built-in mixing chamber or blender chamber with colorless ink in it, and this is like the regular pen. They do have one interesting brush nib that I really like actually, and they also have a regular bullet nib. So you can go from a lighter color tone to a darker color tone in one pen stroke with one pen only, and you just put this little nib in here to the regular nib, and the colorless ink will lighten up the regular inks. And if you want to learn more about how these pens works, you can check out the review I made a little while ago where I talked about these pens and tried them out, and I will leave a link to it here somewhere. So we got these in two different reds, one black and one sand color. And then we have the exclusive new products, Chameleon color tops. This works exactly the same way as the mixing chambers, and instead of going from a lighter to a darker shade, you go from one color to another. So you put them on top of the pen and let the ink mix together for a few seconds, and then you can create gradients, which is pretty cool, I have to admit. A double-ended chameleon fine liner with 1.4mm nib and 1.6mm. I've tried these ones before, and honestly I am not a huge fan of this fine liner. It is good and all that, but it is super clumsy to hold. I wish it could be a little thinner. And the last supplies are 2 sheets of 180 grams nameless acid-free paper. Did you notice we're going backwards in this box, starting with art supplies and ending up with these things? That never happens. Switching things up a little. The supply list for this box with tips and tricks how to use the chameleon markers and the color tops, which can be pretty helpful if you haven't used them before. And this box challenge is maximum carnage. All in caps, that means serious business. And the featured artwork in this box is really awesome, and it's made by Benjamin Davis. Really cool, I like this one. A little spearmint chew, whoop, and a sticker. I'm guessing you never seen this sticker before. So these are all the supplies in these 2 boxes. Also, if you like to subscribe to ScrawlrBox yourself and get awesome supplies sent home to you every month, I will leave a link in the description box below, so check that out. Now let's draw something. So when I tried out the markers from April's box, I noticed that the warm gray 0, that I imagine would be like a super light gray, turned out to be like an earthy light skin tone instead, which I think is a little weird. I like the brush nibs though, even though they were a little hard to control sometime, I think. I didn't try the blender chamber things for the chameleon pens in this video, I've done that already, so I wanted to focus on the new exclusive gradient color top things, which turned out really nice, I have to say. Really cool gradients effect when mixing 2 different colors together. So I chose to go only with one theme, even though I could have combined them, but I was more fond of the Stranger World challenge, so I went with that because I can do whatever I want, which is nice. So I'm gonna tell you a little about this art piece and how it came to be, because I felt totally uninspired when I started, and I didn't thought I could draw anything at all. Sometimes it seems like I just forget how to art, and this isn't like a magical solution, but perhaps it can help someone else when they forget how to art. So this is the piece that made my creativity juices flowing, and it is super beautiful, I know. And I was just scribbling with the supplies, hoping to find some inspiration, making different shapes and doodling and getting to know the art supplies. And when you don't know what to draw, like in my case, Don't be discouraged, just start drawing. Draw anything like this, it doesn't matter if it is a mess, just start. And then suddenly this little swirl thing, like a fern leaf, just popped up on the paper, and I like that. I like swirly things. And then a mushroom appeared, and I like mushrooms too. I don't know where this little weird cactus guy came from though, but I didn't use that. So the fern swirl made me think of snail shells, and then suddenly I wanted to draw snails too. So this little image started to take form inside my head, so I drew that and put it on the paper. And then I refined it, and then I had this illustration here in which I drew the swirly plants, snails and mushrooms that first started as random doodles and shapes on a random paper. So yeah, when you don't know what to draw, just start, put a pen to the paper, draw random lines. I find that much more effective against so-called art block than just staring on the paper and waiting for the ideas to pop up. I hate the frustration when the ideas are refusing to come, and then it's just impossible to start on anything, and I usually just go to bed. But when just taking your favorite pen or whatever supply you prefer and putting it to a paper, drawing lines and shapes that are appealing to you, you are opening up for the creativity, and this way of thinking is actually relatively new to me, and it is probably super old and obvious to someone, but I thought I'd share it with you anyway because I'm pretty sure there are more people out there with the same problem as me. And there are of course many other ways to get out of an art block and find inspiration. This is just one way that can be good to know when it is hard to get started. And it doesn't have to end up in a masterpiece all the time. This piece, for instance, is just a silly little illustration that I had a lot of fun making. I really love the mangaka brush pen, it was so nice to draw with, and I was happy to see it worked really well to color over with the markers without smudging or anything. Definitely one of my favorite supplies in these boxes. So for the theme, Stranger Worlds, I think I actually forgot a little about the actual theme in this process, or else I would have made it even more strange, but I just enjoyed making this and I forgot about all the other things, but I gave the little snails like free eyes, or whatever those things are called, which I think look pretty interesting, like little alien snailies. And a goofy little frog lizard. I love drawing creatures like this. I didn't use any of the papers in the boxes. I used a Copic paper in size A4. I wanted more space to draw on so I could try out all the different supplies, but then I ended up doing this little square, so I didn't use the whole paper anyway, but it is still bigger than the papers in the boxes. I like square drawings. I might actually cut off the edges too so that the whole paper will be square. I did actually had a lot of fun using the chameleon color tops, so I might have been a little too quick to judge, but I also think it was more fun since I had more art supplies to use with the chameleon pens as well. But I could create pretty nice gradients, like on the little tree branch for example. It turned out really nice. I also like the color scheme with the earthy color tones and the bright turquoise. I like limited color palettes. It sometimes makes the artwork more interesting than with a super colorful palette. The white pencil, the all-surface aquarellable one, was amazing. It was very opaque on top of the markers, and it had this really interesting texture and softer consistency. It didn't smudge or anything on the paper, but it was also very easy to erase, which was very surprising. I do think I like the supplies in April's box the best, even though I changed my mind a little about the chameleon pens, but I think the reason I am not super fond of the chameleon markers is that to me they are way more complicated or time-consuming to use than regular markers, but I do understand that they are super helpful to some people, and they was actually fun to use for a little while. So yeah, I think that's all I had to say about this. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making this piece anyway, and I love how it turned out. I did actually scan the line art, so I might put a link in the description box below where you can download it and color it yourself if you want to. And if you do so, feel free to share it with me on Twitter or Instagram and tag me in it so I can see it. Thank you ScrawlrBox for sending me these boxes, not a sponsor, and thank you guys for watching. Keep drawing my happy cats, even if it is just random lines and scribbles. Bye!